Ah, video games. The pinnacle of human creation. Ever since their inception, they have evolved and advanced into a cultural phenomenon unlike anything we've ever seen. There are many different video game genres and subgenres, ranging from story-driven single-player adventures to your average multiplayer FPS with a community that's more broken than the carburetor of a 1996 Nissan Maxima.
You can't get in my van, and loads of people are allowed in mine. Except you, to be honest. I don't care, to be honest, Jordan, you're crap at trick shot.
Right, I'll tell you what, you fat little you're boring, you don't sound Nigerian at all, so go f*** yourself. Go and f***ing crawl in the dirty, dank little hole where you f***ing come from, you dirty, dragon-eating little f***ing spastic.
In November 2007, a studio by the name of Naughty Dog released a small game titled Uncharted Drake's Fortune. This game served as an introduction to a character that would over time become a PlayStation mascot, as Nathan Drake is one of the most recognizable video game characters, right up there with the all-time greats like Mario, Link, and Master Chief. Since then, the Uncharted games have reinvented themselves and become some of the biggest and best games of all time, and are some of Sony's best exclusives to date. 13 years later, and I'm a PlayStation fanboy who still hasn't experienced this iconic series, and seeing as though I have all the games in my library thanks to PS Plus, I took it upon myself to play every Uncharted game before the end of the year, one video for each game. Each video will serve as a review, dictating my thoughts on each game to let you know what I think of this legendary series overall.
It is a little something for everyone.
So without further ado, let's dive right on in to where it all started, with a little game titled Uncharted Drake's Fortune. And if it wasn't already obvious enough, spoilers and opinion warning. Going into this game, I wasn't very excited, as I hadn't heard as much about it as the other games in the series, like the second and fourth games. I saw this game more as a chore, like I had to play it before the others, so I could get the story chronologically. However, I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised. The first thing I noticed as soon as I started the game was how good the graphics were. And yes, I know it's remastered, but still, something about the smooth, Telltale-esque style was just so cool for me to look at. Seeing as though the game is 13 years old, it's pretty impressive. It's aged really well. And can I tell you how much I just love the way the pages on Nate's book flip? I mean, oh my god, that looked good!
I have one more mission.
Man, look at this water. It's so beautiful. That looks good! Look at the water, man.
But like we all know, graphics aren't everything. If that were true, EA would have won back-to-back-to-back Game of the Year awards.
The Game of the Year award goes to...
So let's talk about some of the other features, like the shooting, climbing, and the puzzles. Let's start with the gunplay, which is kinda terrible. The aiming is like really stiff, and while the cover system works fine, I didn't really find myself using it as much as I should have. Like, I know it's an old game, but I was expecting something that, wasn't that. There also isn't much gun variety, so you'll find yourself using the same guns for most of the game. It's a shame because shooting is at least a solid 40% of this game. I don't know. Hopefully it's better in the future games. Hopefully they fixed the terrible shooting mechanics. I know I'm the minority here, but I really enjoyed the climbing sections. These parts made me feel most like I was watching a movie. You'll be climbing up a wall and you'll just be taken aback by these cinematic camera angles and the beautiful visuals and just it's just so good! Unfortunately, that brings me to my least favorite part of the game. The camera. The camera in this game pisses me off so much. You will jump from one ledge to another, and the camera will just switch to a completely different angle mid-jump. This messed me up so many times. I can't tell you how many times I died from falling, because the camera just changed so unexpectedly. Who asked for this? Who wants this? Not me. I hate it. I want it out. And yes, I know they did it probably to make it more cinematic or immersive, which is fine. Just keep that kind of stuff in the cutscenes only, okay? The last feature I haven't talked about is the puzzles, which for me were kind of a letdown. To be honest, I didn't even expect much from these puzzles going into the game. And yes, while they can be a little fun, they get old fast. Most puzzles consist of you just running around in a cave looking for markings that match those in your book and then pressing a stone button in the right order. Sometimes they aren't even conveyed properly, which takes me out of the game a little. Nevertheless, the puzzles can be a fun addition if done right, seeing as though they are so heavily tied to the story. Which brings me to the story. And in all honesty, it was pretty good. Yes, I couldn't talk about this game without talking about the story, which is the whole driving force behind the entire series. The story follows Nathan Drake, a daring, adventurous treasure hunter looking to find El Dorado, the lost treasure of Sir Francis Drake. Along for the ride are his friends Elena Fisher, a journalist who documents their adventures for a TV show, and Nate's longtime friend and mentor, Victor Sullivan. The three of them are stuck on an island with a bunch of gangsters who are after the same treasure, and will stop at nothing to get it. Along the way, they meet up with different characters and get betrayed, played, and even joined for an unexpected team-up, which I really liked. The first part of this game hooks you immediately, and feels like an adventure movie, like a modern-day Indiana Jones, if you will. The transitions between levels were seamless, and it never felt like it was wasting your time. However, the middle chunk of this game was kinda garbage. For a solid hour and 45 minutes, you just go from puzzle cave to a shooting gallery, to another puzzle cave, then another shooting gallery, then another puzzle cave, etc., on and on and on. During this time, the story doesn't progress at all, and I felt bored of the repetitive nature after a while, and I honestly was kinda tempted to drop the game. However, the entire game is redeemed towards the end, because the last hour of this game is an absolute banger. The game makes a huge tonal shift towards the end, and straight up turns into a Last of Us Nazi Zombies crossover, and I loved it. It turns out that the treasure of El Dorado has some secret magic curse, and when the Nazis first got a hold of it, they got infected and turned into zombies. I had so much fun in this last chunk of the game, I immediately played it back again because it was that much fun. The final battle, if you can even call it that, was not only visually impressive, but more enjoyable than it should have been. By the time the credits rolled, I let out a rather satisfied, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. That's how good the ending is, honestly. In the future, if I ever find myself not knowing what to play, I'ma just play the last 5 levels or so of this game. That's how good they are. That's just how good they are.
It is a little something for everyone.
Uncharted Drake's Fortune is a fun time with some dumb stuff. The best parts about this game are the graphics, the story, and the last third. As a whole, I initially wanted to give it an 8, but taking into account everything about the game and my experience, I had to bump it down to a 7.5. Not amazing, but not trash either. A large part of the score was carried by that last third, but I think no matter where you tend to play it, you'll have some fun, which is always a win in my book. So, 1 game down, and I'm liking what the Uncharted series has shown me so far, and I'm even more excited for the next one because I sure have heard a lot about it. Anyway, until then, stay spoignant. Lagging Cactus signing out. Peace. I'm gonna cut that. You still here? Show's over. Go home. Go! Scram! Video's over. There's no after credit scene. What do you mean? Ah, yes, definitely choose Arby's.